I know niggas are straight capping, bro. Now, Nero's ZYN, I appreciate the Twitch Prime sub. Are the ads done? Are the ads done? Y'all gotta let me know if the ads done. We can hop right back into it if they done. Hold on. Ads over. But what's the last thing y'all heard before the ads ran? What's the last thing y'all heard? What's the last thing y'all heard, man? Nothing lasts forever. There's a rise and fall. Alright. First of all, credibility first. All these books right here. If it's 15, if it's like 15, 20 books right here, because it's a shelf below that. At least 9 of these are financial literacy. Books I forced myself to read to talk about the shit I'm about to talk about. So I ain't just speaking from, oh, well, I watched some YouTube video and, you know, this some real shit. Like, I put the time in, brother. I put the effort in. And it has helped me. They're like, let's not talk about money. Let's just not talk about money. But I could not get paid from YouTube, Patreon, Twitch, listen, every income could stop for the next 2 years and I would still have money. I would even argue even longer than that. Paying everything I pay for and still be helping people out. I could literally last 2 years making not a single dollar. 2 years straight. And I would debate if it's longer than that. But I know for a fact I can get 2 years. But listen. Now hold on. It's a reason for that. Right? And it's not even just the fact that we're at now. It's situations where I've capitalized off of having money. Or not having money. Or knowing what to do with the little bit of money I had at that time. That have gotten me where they've gotten me. Now, let's get specific. Let's keep getting specific. The last thing I told y'all is if you start making more money, anything over $45,000 a year, or you working to get there, you should still listen, even if you ain't make never $10K in your life, right? Now, nothing lasts forever. And the only reason I mentioned that first is because when the dude asked me this question, he said, talk about how to move when you start getting into some real money. When you ask me this question, I'm thinking you already getting into some real money. If you have not, right? If you have not yet, I need y'all to understand this. We can talk about minimum wage. We can talk about all this shit out here, right? I would argue the reason most people in America do not have over $1,000 in their savings account, the reason most people in America are struggling and poor, yes, the cost of living is going up, and yes, the income is not catching up to it, so that is also a factor, or factors like that. But there are so many ways to make money nowadays. I don't consider that a strong enough excuse. 3730 Guap, I appreciate the 6 months. Moon, I appreciate the 10 months, brother. My fucking dog. Listen, it's too many ways to make money, bro. Like I just ain't buying that. So my bet on that is people don't think ahead long enough. So let me give you an example. People stay in the loop of being broke and struggling. And this loop that goes by check to check. A check to check become a month has passed. A month has passed turns into 6 months. 6 months turn into a year. A year go by, time flies, chat. Time flies. I feel like I just graduated high school. I had prom pictures in the back. And this semester is the semester that the people that I graduated high school with are graduating college. Time fucking flies. I'm about to turn 22. Time flies, bro. People let that month, them 6 months, that year turn into 1 year, turn into 2 years, turn into 5 years, turn into 2 years, turn into 15 years, turn into 20. Next thing you know, your parents are 60, your parents are 70, 80, 90, grandparents or whatever. Like their life, ask anybody that's twice age how fast time goes, and they will tell you, time flies. So guess what I'm about to say? People that get caught in that check-to-check struggle, Pastor Waukesha, I appreciate the 2 months. People that get caught in that check-to-check struggle, I feel like they never step outside of their own shoes and analyze or look at where they're going. So they think that the next month something spontaneous is miraculously just going to happen. Or they think a year from now something just going to come out the sky and blow up. No. If you don't make a change, if you don't do something, nothing's going to change. And you need to realistically look at everybody around you, your parents included, your grandparents, your older siblings, your older cousins, your uncles. Look at how their life has either been the same or changed for better. And look at why it didn't. Look at the excuses that they tell themselves. Look at the excuses that they tell themselves that they start telling you. Like, oh, if it ain't one thing, it's another. I can't catch a break. Oh, I'm just so unlucky. Or something just always, like, listen, this is the shit that they tell themselves, bro, to accept their condition of their state of living. And this is important because if this is what you tell yourself, meanwhile, another person is telling themselves, I'm preparing for my success, or Anthony Drops, I appreciate the T1 sub. Another person is telling themselves, this is a perfect opportunity to capitalize off of. Oh, I'm preparing for my future. Oh, it don't matter. I'm gonna stay focused anyway. Or consistency kills. Or if I have different shit I'm telling myself, and they telling themselves things that shit on themselves kills their confidence. This makes a difference over a month, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And we've been telling ourselves so many things that our thoughts have been creating different actions. And our actions over a long period of time have created a huge difference in how our lives look. And I'm telling you, I had to address that because it starts with that narrative. And I know we all got people in our lives, whether they are parents or not, whether you love them to death, but the truth is the truth, chat. No matter how much you love somebody or care about somebody, the truth is the truth. Somebody said something earlier. It's two boxers that's about to fight. Ryan Garcia and Tank, right? Somebody said Ryan Garcia's own sparring partner said something like, oh, Tank's going to win. What? So because he's a sparring partner, he's not supposed to tell the truth? Opla, I appreciate the Twitch Prime sub. He could be honest with him. He could be honest whether he's a sparring partner or not. Or his friend or not. He could be honest. That's his truth. That's what he thinks the truth is. And his truth is that he thinks Tank is going to win. No matter how close he is, he keeps it real. That's somebody that you want around you. You know why? Because guess what? If Ryan were to ask him, why do you think Tank is going to win? The sparring partner can now say, well, Tank hits harder. Tank has faster. His competition. Like, if he breaks down the reasons he thinks he's going to win, Ryan can now say, let me beat those reasons so now I can even more confidently shore my win. This is what winners do. Winners don't ignore criticism or bad opinions and negative shit. Winners want to beat that shit and prove you wrong. But we want to know why so we can deal with it. Right? Are y'all following me so far? And what does this have to do with how you move when you start making real money? Again, I'll go back to say I'm addressing this because, Sparky Trifecta said, talk about how to move when you start getting real money. First of all, if you're already at the point where you're starting to get real money and you ain't in your mind ain't in the right place, you're gonna fumble the bag. Like that's where I'm talking about this shit first. You in the best position if you broke right now, you struggling, or your life ain't really there. If you already getting the chicken and the bread coming, maybe you fucked some money up before, so you feel what I'm saying, right? You for people who fuck some money up, y'all know, like this shit gotta be right first, bro. That it don't matter. You could win the fucking lottery tomorrow, and your shit, if this ain't right, you gonna lose all that money. It don't matter. Now, y'all ready to move on, chat? Y'all been following me? Follow me so far. Y'all ready to move on? Cause now we can really talk about like, all right, boom. So okay, listen. You start making this real money, right? Now, Aisha, what was real money? My first answer was you start making 10K plus a month. Why? Because I was thinking like, how much should you be making to where if you got kids, siblings, family, like whoever you got going on in your life, where you start being comfortable. Now you could be comfortable with under 10K a month, right? But this is important. Are you trying to be comfortable? Are you trying to be rich? Are you trying to be wealthy? Are you trying to look rich? Why does this matter? Because if you aim for the stars, you'll at least hit the moon, right? Some people aim so fucking low that they hit something low. Well, I just want to make this. That's where they're aiming. So if they hit at least below where they're aiming, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you have to aim high. Because if you aim high and miss your target, at least you hit something higher, like, than your normal, like, asking price. You see what I'm saying? So I have to point that out. You got to know what you want. Because if you say I want to be comfortable, then you're going to be comfortable. If you say I want to be rich, then you'll get to being rich if you do what you need to do, right? If you say you want to be wealthy, then you'll get to being wealthy. Because that's what you were aiming for. It's a difference between all of those things, all of those different titles: rich, wealthy, looking rich, generational wealth. This is a huge difference between all of these. Because then you could aim for being rich, and then you realize you're not wealthy. Then you aim for being wealthy, then you realize you don't have generational wealth, right? So it's different ways that you have to work to get there, right? But these are all steps away from each other. Y'all following me so far, chat? Are y'all following me? Because I get to talking. I know I go on my rants, bro, and I don't want to lose y'all because this all is important. It's like I'm giving y'all a book's worth of knowledge, or different books I'm combining, or different things I've learned all at once, and I'm trying to like simplify and make it followable. This could be a whole fucking video for a whole YouTube video. I'm gonna put this in my notes actually, because if I like wrote and scripted this out, like it would be tough. When you start getting money out, I'm gonna put that in my notes right now. All right, now listen. Where you aim is important, right? Knowing that this has to come first before you start getting real money. Then you start touching the money. Boom, you touching 10K a month, right? Keep in mind what I said about the first group of people, right? They don't think far enough. They don't think ahead. They just live in the moment all the time. And then something happens that surprises them. They weren't prepared for it because they weren't thinking ahead. Or their life never changes because they don't think ahead, right? The opposite is true. I've thought so far ahead that when something happens in the middle, I don't have to react because I'm still thinking ahead. So whatever happens in the moment is pointless as long as I get to where I'm thinking. Did that make sense? Did that make sense, chat? Because I just took the first part and I just like took it a little further. So did that make sense? Did that make sense? If I'm trying to get in the NFL, if I'm trying to play in the National Football League, who the fuck cares if somebody cooked me at a 7-on-7 scrimmage? Who the fuck cares that we lost this game? I'm trying to get to the NFL. That makes sense? Tell me why I appreciate the 19 months. If I'm trying to go pro in my sport, why do I care if I lost this game? I'm focused on being a pro. So your long-term thinking will help you deal with the present. Keep that in mind. Right? Why is this important when you start touching the chicken? Because you making that 10K a month, you don't think ahead, like, all right, I want this 10K to turn to 20. I want this 20 to turn to 30, 30 to turn to 50, 50 to turn to 100, 100 to turn to 200, 200 to turn to 400, right? You're not going to see that it's not just a matter of making double what you make. It's a matter of handling the money that you're making. So when you start making money, fuck how you supposed to move. Guess what? You already probably moving in a certain way where you are damn near untouchable to people you used to be touchable by. I start moving. How I moved, dog, some of my closest friends didn't see me. Only my father, who I was living with, me daily. No chick I was messing with saw me daily. No, not even like, listen, cause why? I was moving in different places that you only were there if we had something in common. It's just the truth. You know, I remember, I'm gonna give you a random example. I remember I was in high school, right? I had algebra 2, right? The math time. Mind you, I had like an 87 in the class. And as I started to build my relationship with the teacher, I went to tutoring in the morning. Now tutoring, if the bell rung at like 8:15, she started tutoring like 7. I don't know why. Bell rung like 7:50. I don't remember high school. Kid was shot with the big 8 months. I'll tell y'all this story. I'm gonna tell y'all the story to understand this point. I started going to tutoring, and I might remember I told you this before. I didn't see one student who had a grade lower than a 90 in tutoring, except me. Now, tutoring is the extra work, like the extra effort, like you need help. I didn't see one student that had a lower grade than a 90 in tutoring. Only we saw each other in tutoring. So this is what I'm saying, when you start moving differently, only people who are there with something in common with you will start to see you. You don't start to see people who ain't got nothing in common with you. Mine's ban the fuck out of this motherfucker. Dragomir McFarland. McFarland. How do you know my algebra teacher name? McFarland. I had Dragomir and McFarland, but Dragomir for pre-calc. Now listen. Keep in mind this too, chat. Those two teachers that person just named. FBA plug. He 279. I'm 278. That's our high school graduation number. Shout out to you, dog. Now listen. I'm gonna ask him right now, because this is another lesson. Remember I told y'all about struggling and difficulty? FBA plug. Out of the hardest teachers in those schools, the teachers people wanted to avoid. I don't even, what's your real name? I actually know you if like I met you. You 279. That's like a close ass grade. Listen, out of the 2 hardest teachers in the school, were those not the 2? Listen, if you made a top 5 list of hardest math teachers in that school, those 2 were top 3. Top 3. Now, plug, tell me if I'm wrong. He said they were. Big facts. I'm trying to tell y'all. And now I'm a point here, chat. They hated these teachers. They were top. Listen, y'all now you might remember school, bro. Like, it's teachers and professors. Like, people don't go to her. She difficult. Blah blah. I had both of these teachers back to back. But guess what? You know why people hated these teachers, chat? Because you couldn't fake be good in their class. Either you knew what you was talking about or you didn't. And people don't like being bad at what they do. People don't like being embarrassed. People don't like sucking or being terrible at a subject or a skill. But guess the fuck what? When you had those teachers, even though they were the hardest, the ones people avoided, your math